From the cheapest to the most expensive, today we're testing every clone fragrance from Luciano. With so many options to choose from, picking the right fragrance always felt like a gamble. But today, all of that changes as we figure out what fragrance is the king of the clone wars. And we're starting with the Titan Collection. If you're a fan of Parfum de Marly fragrances, then this could be your perfect starting point because each of these fragrances is a Parfum de Marly fragrance with a twist. Now, this is bourbon, and this is Luciano's take on Parfum de Marly's Altair, and it's only $36. Now, what makes Altair special is the way it emphasizes that bourbon vanilla note. Now, personally, I believe that bourbon gets that bourbon vanilla note extremely close, but it still pulls forward that cardamom, cinnamon, and citrus just as you would expect. To me, bourbon isn't as vibrant as Altair, especially in the opening, but it doesn't lose the overall feeling. My rating, 8.8 out of 10. Next is Dynasty, and as a Perseus twist, this should be one of the fresher offerings in the lineup. On first spray of this fragrance, you get a blast of citrus and grapefruit, but it's not as in your face as you would get with Perseus. But as the fragrance further develops, it feels like that grapefruit reinvites itself into the conversation. Now, Dynasty does provide this nice woody undertone, and for a fresh fragrance, it still has quite a bit of staying power. If I had to criticize this fragrance for one thing, it doesn't come off as creamy as Perseus, but for $28, we're really nitpicking. 7.5 out of 10. Moving on, we have Majesty, and this one is Luciano's take on Greenlee. Unfortunately, it's not a one-to-one take on Greenlee, specifically in the opening, but with this one being listed as having a twist, you really can't dock them points for it not being an exact copy. I find the opening on Greenlee to be a little bit more mature, more crisp, and a bit more earthy than what we get with Majesty. Now that said, I still pick up on the apple with the Majesty, but I do find this to be a bit sweeter than what we get with Greenlee. Now, when I say sweet, don't think of Kool-Aid sweet. This one's more like a Jolly Rancher. Now, don't get me wrong, it's still fresh and it's still a great fragrance, but if you're looking for that crisp, woody, earthy, mature feel that you get from Greenlee, then this one would be a miss. However, if you're looking for a more youthful, or maybe it's better said to be a more playful take on Greenlee, then this one is an immediate go. Final rating, 8 out of 10. Now, this is Legacy, and it's Luciano's take on Hautane. Now, I picked up Hautane years ago when it was still an exclusive at Harrods. Fast forward to today, Hautane can be found anywhere that Parfum de Marly fragrances are sold. Now, what I will say is I don't believe that anything changed from the fragrance composition when it was an exclusive at Harrods versus where it is today, but since I'm not 100% sure, keep that in mind as I'm giving you a little details on this one. When I think about Legacy, overall, I think about this woody, aromatic goodness. I mean, it just smells like something a gentleman should wear. In the top, I get more what feels like lavender and clary sage. And as it further develops, it just feels masculine and easy to wear. Now, there's also some praline, which adds this subtle sweetness to the scent. And to me, it doesn't take away from its masculinity or really that woodiness that you get in the dry down. Now, when I picked up Hautane, I paid $410 for this. And with a good conscience, I can't say that this is $374 better than this. Overall, 8.5 out of 10. To wrap up the Titan collection, we have Dominion, and out of all the Luciano fragrances, this is the one I've had the longest. Now look, it's no secret that I'm a huge fan of Sedley, and with that being said, I'm also a huge fan of Dominion. Simply put, Dominion is this crowd-pleasing twist on tonic, woods, citrus, and mint, and this fragrance is so nice that I have it in my collection twice, which is exactly why I'm giving one of them to you. Check out this full video for details, but if you're the winner, you're gonna walk away with a bottle of Dominion of your own. But wait, there's more. If you like what you hear and you're thinking about picking up a bottle of Luciano, now's the time to do it. Huge shout out to my friends over at fragflex.com because they're hooking my viewers up with a special deal. I mean, they're blowing it out. If you pick up any Luciano fragrance, you can buy one, get one 35% off. I mean, listen, it doesn't get much better than that, the sale only sticks around to August 14th and it's exclusively for the viewers of this video. Click on the link or use the code BUCK35 and receive 35% off your second bottle of Luciano. Now, this next group of fragrances happen to be inspired by Louis Vuitton. And if these fragrances are anything like the Titan series, oh, we're in for a treat. And to kick things off, we're starting with Coastal Breeze. Now, not only does this presentation stand out, I'm sure this fragrance is going to stand out as this is a twist on Louis Vuitton's Pacific Chill. I mean, really, just from the green presentation, you can see what this fragrance is really all about, but let's see if the scent is even close. It has excellent distribution on the atomizer. Oh man, that is good. If you can't tell, I'm diving into the rest of this Luciano line live, and this fragrance is fantastic. Now, Pacific Chill is popular because it's cooling, it's calming, and it has this fizziness along with mint that is unmatched. But this one, it smells extremely close. Now, from a mind state, this fragrance just feels like I should be laying out on a beach somewhere. It's vibrant, it's energizing, and you get a lot of that same fizziness that you would get in the OG. The mint is there, it's alive and well, and then that black currant here, it almost feels like there's an extra dose, allowing this one to feel a little more masculine than Pacific Chill. Now, on first spray and in the air, what I'll tell you is that most people won't be able to tell the difference between Coastal Breeze and Pacific Chill. And for a fragrance that's literally a 1/12 of the price, that's not bad. And on smell and first impressions alone, 8.5 out of 10. Moving on, we have Spectacle. Let me tell you, this is a play on Stella Times, which is a magnificent scent. Okay, so Luciano lists Spectacle as a twist on Stella Times, and I do like it, but I feel like I like Stella Times a bit more. Scratch that, I know I like Stella Times a lot more. To me, Stella Times is boom, in your face, it's loud, it's proud, and Spectacle doesn't really create a spectacle. With a name like Spectacle being a twist on Stella Times, I'm expecting this fragrance to be out loud and proud and in your face, but it doesn't really take that approach. It takes a similar vibe and really dials it back some. Now, what I will say is that oftentimes people tell me that Stella Times is a little too feminine for their taste. There's too much floral and they really can't get over it. So if you do like the DNA, but you find Stella Times to be a little more ladylike than you would like in your collection, then Spectacle could be one of those fragrances for you. It takes that note of amber, it really just smooths it out in the scent and really makes it a bit more wearable for some, but for me, I like that in your face approach that I get with Stella Times. So for me, and what I like about Stella Times, 6.5 out of 10. This is Arabian Oasis, and this is a twist on Fleur Desert from Louis Vuitton. Now, when I think about that line of fragrances, Louis Vuitton tends to do that extremely well. They stop, whoa, I was about to say they stop you in your tracks, and this one did exactly that. This is really good, but it's something that I would prefer to smell on my wife. When I think of a name like Fleur du Desert, I think of something that is floral and dry, or flower and desert, I think floral and dry, and that's exactly what I'm getting with this. This is a fragrance I think will be extremely attractive on women. Think jasmine, think a bit of rose, some orange blossom, and this is also, as we mentioned, a part of the Oud collection, so there should be a bit of Oud, but it doesn't come off as pungent in your face or offensive. The average fragrance within the Louis Vuitton Oud scent collection is over $400. And this one comes in under 40, so that's a win in my book, and 8 out of 10. Moving on, we got Ombre Odyssey, and just by the name, I'm going to think that this is a play on Ombre Nomad. I could be right, but I could be wrong. Yep. Yes, this is a recreation of Ombre Nomad, or Ombre Nomad with a twist, and this thing is good. Now, when I think of Ombre Nomad, I think of sensual, sexy, alluring, and also a bit dark, and this one immediately grabs my attention in all of those ways. This one on first spray is probably about 85 to 90% accurate. I'm getting a ton of that rose-like and oud-like smell here, but it comes comes off a little less pungent, a little less aggressive, and although I appreciate those things about Ombre Nomad, for the general public, this one might be seen as a bit more wearable. But all in all, it's a really good fragrance. You can tell that the projection is going to be good on this one. Longevity is likely in place, and the fragrance just smells phenomenal. My initial take, 8.2 out of 10. Next up, we got Cosmic Rock, and with a name like Cosmic Rock, you already know if you're into Louis Vuitton fragrances where this one's going. Let's see what we got here. Oh, this is good. Oh man, they did a phenomenal job. This one has that perfect blend of freshness, a nice, just subtle hint of this fizziness that comes into the scent, and it just feels soft and comforting while still being like this masculine scent. Now, you probably could tell from the smile on my face when I sprayed this fragrance, it immediately gave me this uplifting feel. I mean, really, this one just has good energy. I feel like this is a fragrance that's going to garner a ton of compliments, and again, we're talking price points that's so low, especially with buy one get one 35% off. You can't say no. Cosmic Rock just has this mass appealing feel, and one of those fragrances that the compliment factor is going to be there on. So if you're looking for something to add into your collection and you don't want to break the bank, this is definitely a go. 8.3 out of 10. Now, this is a vibe, California vibe to be specific. And if you know anything about the House of LV, then you know where they're going with this one. Now, this is what happens when a fragrance throws on sunglasses and drops the top on a convertible and takes a ride down Sunset. The opening on this one is bright, it's juicy, it's smooth, but instead of going sharp and tangy, this one mellows out extremely quick, and I think I like it. Now, the good thing here is that it comes off as clean and it's also soft, but this one doesn't disappear quickly. California vibe is easygoing and sophisticated, just as I would imagine being in California would be. Well, it depends on where you are. If you're looking for that perfect spring and summer fragrance, then California Vibe could be a no-brainer for you. As it stands, 7.5 out of 10. Moving on, we got Stardust, and I have to admit, every time I hear this name, I think of angel dust. Smoke it! Smoke it, smoke it, smoke it! On first spray, you're hit smack dead in the face with this blast of citrus, and something about this just brings me to Kanye West flashing lights. Flashing lights, lights, lights. I don't know, that's what happens when I smell this fragrance, and I think it's pretty good. Now, when spraying this fragrance, you're gonna get that lemon, there's some bergamot, and possibly a tad bit of lime here. It just comes off like this refreshing Sprite, but upscale. But what I also like about this is that it's not too loud and it's not fleeting. And if you give it a bit of time, some of that sparkliness from this scent, likely on account of some ginger, begins to get a little bit smoother and comes off a bit more sexy. And finally, just when you think that top is faded, you begin to get some sandalwood and this powdery musk. Overall, it smells smooth, alluring, and grown, and I feel like this fragrance could do well in the compliment range, so this one's getting an 8.5 out of 10. Moving on, we have Mystic Dreams, and you don't need to use your imagination for this. Now, after that first spray and it begins to settle a bit, you start to get just pieces of what imagination could be, and you could use your imagination to put it all together. That said, this is still a really good fragrance. You get a lot of what I would call a traditional fragrance stack. At the top, you're gonna get some citrus. In the mid, you're gonna get some florals, and then everything's rooted in this woody base. Quick takes on this fragrance, it's fresh, inviting, good for daytime, casual, or office wear. That said, 8.4 out of 10. Now, this is Magnitude, and Magnitude is their take on L'Immensité. Make no mistake about it, you can look at this bottle and see how this tied back to the original. Now, in case you're wondering, when it comes to the similar profile in terms of how it makes you feel, they nailed it. On the initial spray of this, you get something that is supposed to come off as clean, but there's also this blast of ginger right at the top. But then it follows by this grapefruit, which really smooths it out and allows it to be bright without being overly sour. Now, as this one begins to dry down a bit is when it becomes a bit more like the original. And it pulls through with this soft, ambery warmth that keeps the fragrance sexy without killing that freshness. As it stands, it's 9 not too light, it's not too overpowering. It just sits in this confident space. And in my opinion, it's a fragrance that you wear when you just want to smell put together. For the price, it punches above its weight class, and it might even hit an 8.2 on the magnitude of the Richter scale. See what I did there? Hopefully I pulled it all together. Honestly, I think it's good, and one of the best takes on the Mr. Tight that I've smelled so far. So again, 8.2. Splish Splash, I was taking a bath with Sunset Swim. So you can swim at sunset or you can take an afternoon swim, but no matter what you do, just smell amazing while you do it. From the moment you spray this fragrance, you're met with this fresh, juicy, zesty blast of bergamot and orange. But what I really enjoy about this fragrance is that it doesn't come off as just this basic citrus scent. There's this elegant twist of mandarin and ginger here that just adds this warming touch. And then, out of nowhere, there's this salty skin type of smell, like you just walked out of the ocean and you got a little bit of that sea salt still on you. That said, you just popped out so you don't smell sweaty. You're still clean and smooth, and just a little bit of that saltiness is just glistening off your skin. That's what this feels like. And on the right person, it could be addictive. As it dries down, it becomes smooth and beachy without feeling too sunscreeny. And honestly, that can be this difficult line to walk. At its price point, this fragrance just does a lot of things right, and performance is there. It just does everything you need it to do. 9.2 out of 10. Next up, we got Oud Amethyst, and when we think about what this fragrance is setting to be a twist or recreation of, it's one of the LV fragrances I haven't spent a ton of time with. I believe it's called Myriad, and it's one of the, what I call the coral fragrances. I'm sure it's not that, but at the top of the fragrances look like coral reef to me, and they are a little bit more expensive. So let's see what this one is all about. When I spray this fragrance, I feel like there are some familiar notes, and obviously the easy one is kind of like a oudish take. Obviously for under 40 bucks, this is not oud in this scent, but it does have an oudy take. There's also some rose here, and it feels like a little bit darker but feminine leading scent. Now also I have to say that I'm getting this sweetness to this scent, and it's coming off as a little thick. And when I say it's coming off as thick, I don't mean like a cough syrup thick. This one more is like a cheap syrup thick. Also, I get hints of notes like leather within this fragrance, and it just comes off as raw and rugged, but it's still refined. It's a delicate balance that's played out really well in this scent. I think they did a good job. That said, I think the name is fitting. Oud Amethyst, rugged, beautiful, all at the same time. This one, I'm gonna give a 9.3. And the final one in this LV twist happens to be that of Melody. And I think this is a recreation of Symphony. Something about this reminds me of Hairspray. Not particularly great. I've smelled worse though. With this fragrance, there's like this citrus medley here, and it feels like pink lemonade. It's bright, it has some grapefruit, and it's a little fuzzy. It feels like a little fizzy here. Think of a TV with static. You can see the picture, but it's kind of jumbled a bit. So I can see where they're going, but it's not all the way there. Now underneath that sparkling slash fizziness there, it's also a little warm. Yet it still feels clean. It's almost like there's some musk here on the undertones. Yet it doesn't come off spicy. As it stands, this one would not be a go-to for me, but I do feel like this could be a go-to for someone else. So my personal ranking, 6.3 out of 10. Moving on, we're jumping into Luciano's lifestyle collection, starting with Lilac Bouquet. And from the name itself, you can already tell that this is going to be a floral monster. The presentation on this bottle, superb. All of these have this muted look to them, and I think it's really hip, chic, and kind of luxurious. Let me tell you, this fragrance smells amazing. Clearly there's this floral aspect here, but there's also a heavy dose of sweetness here that really just smells like an onset of sugar. It also feels like there's some marshmallow in this fragrance. It comes off a bit creamy. I almost feel like it's along the lines of Killian's Love Don't Be Shy, but don't quote me on that. Something is bubblegum-esque about this. I don't get a ton of overpowering old lady florals, which I tend to hate in fragrances, although it does feel like there's a little white florals here. Nonetheless, I think this is a phenomenal fragrance that a lot of ladies would love and can rock to the office and get a ton of looks. Sweet, attractive, high quality, 7.5 out of 10. Next, we got High on Life. Oh my goodness. This one smells really, really good. Oh man. This is citrus, bright, fresh, refreshing, vibrant, uplifting, everything that you would say to make you feel like you're in a feel-good mood. I feel like this is like a modernized take on Bleu de Chanel. It's vibrant, it's fresh, it's blue, it just feels clean. It doesn't feel like it's going to be problematic, and I think that the compliments will roll in on this one. Now, that's odd because that's what I initially got. As it begins to settle down a bit, it almost ties back to something like Versace Eros. Personally, I would say that that's a hell of a twist. Really two powerhouse scents that gets the job done in realms of designer fragrances, and oh man, this just looks and feels good in the hand. It feels premium, it smells premium, and one that I'm gonna enjoy wearing a ton. So High on Life, you say? We'll see about that. Let's give it a 7.8 out of 10. Moving on, we got another fragrance that feels like it's for women, and this is Parma di Rosa, and it almost feels like an Aqua de Parma type of scent when you look at the name breakdown, so it might be tied back to that. Oh, this is Floral Rose. This one feels mature, a little fresh, and it also feels like there might be some type of hair within this scent. I could be wrong, but every time I smell this, I feel like Rick Ross. Pear.
I eat pear.
Slightly sweet, floral, pops of freshness. Rose is there live and present, but it's not dark and sexy in that way. This one is more bright, vibrant, and just shows that like you are looking to have fun. For darker, sexier fragrances on my wife, so this is not one that's immediately capturing my attention, that's gonna make me turn my head. So with that, I'm gonna give this one a 7. And now we're gonna get a little bit on the rocks. When I think of on the rocks, I think of like liquor in fragrances. So maybe we will or maybe we won't get that. It's good though. This is good. There's like just a pinch of liquor in here. Like just a pinch of alcohol, and not like the perfumer's alcohol. It's just like a pinch of booziness, so to speak, where it's just ever so slightly there, where you'll notice it doesn't come off as an alcoholic. Oh man, they did a phenomenal job with this. Sweet, it's not particularly in your face. It's almost like the bottle. Like it's just muted. Like you get it, you see it, you appreciate it, but it doesn't get in the way. I just tried to look it up to see if I could find out what this one is mimicking. I couldn't, but nonetheless, this is a really good fragrance. I think that a lot of people out there will enjoy it. Unisex. This one could work on a man or woman very equally and not get negative looks either way. As it stands right now, I'll give it a 7.5 out of 10. Decent scent, really, really nice for what it is, and another banger. And then there were 3, and these are the final 3 fragrances within Luciano's lifestyle collection. And why not kick things off with the blaze with Inferno. Now this bottle, as well as the others within this newer lifestyle collection, all feel like they were kind of the first iteration of the lifestyle collection. And I'm not particularly sure, maybe they were, maybe they weren't, but the presentation of the last collection looked a lot better. All right. Now, this one is not particularly my jam. Now, it is bright. It does have some nice elements to it, but it's not a fragrance that I would wear, nor one that I would want my wife to wear. Now, I do feel like I'm getting a little patchouli, a little bit of tonka within this fragrance. It does come off as slightly smooth, but again, it's not a fragrance that I would particularly be writing home about or telling someone to pick up. So for that, I'm going to say that this one gets a 6 out of 10. Next, we got the Noir edition. Now, when I think of Noir, I think of dark, I think of essential, I think of grown man business. This is good. Oh man, this one feels like it has an Ambroxan twist in it. A part of it reminds me of Sedley. It's vibrant, it's creamy. It feels like something I could wear to the office. But it also feels like something that might be a little too naughty for the office. Now, it doesn't come off as like a sexy scent, but it does smell like something I could wear on a date night and it would work, depending on what I had on. I'm getting some subtle hints of pink pepper and also a little realm of woods here as well, probably like some cedar within the scent. Yet another fragrance I feel takes this traditional men's fragrance stack with citrus at the top, you get a little bit of florals and then some woody nuances in the base. I like this scent, I do enjoy it. As it stands right now, I would give it a 7.3 out of 10. And then there was one, and this fragrance here reminds me of Tom Ford fucking Fabulous. Not that it smells like it, just the name is Oud Fabulous, and you would think that this smells like fucking Fabulous, but I can tell you that it does not. But before I hop into this, I have to leave you with how you win the bottle of Dominion. It's pretty simple. Just comment down below what video you'd like to see me do, and I'll randomly pick one. So that's how simple it is. See, it's easy peasy lemon squeezy. Just comment that down below. I have all the details in the description for you, so you'll know how you officially win. Now back to our regularly scheduled programming. This is Oud Fabulous, and the presentation is a lot different than the other ones that we saw. Just because it's gold, it stands out a bit, but the box, I mean, also feels a little bit different than the other two. It's kind of, I don't know what to call it. It's textured. There we go. It's textured. All right. The presentation here in terms of what the juice color is will make you feel like this one's, oh, yeah, I forgot how good this one is. Listen, this one is phenomenal, okay? It's sweet, it's masculine, but it also has just this slight boozy kick and a little smokiness to this scent too. This one just feels like a fragrance a grown man should wear. Think of a man in all blacked out, Bentley, you know, murdered out, hopping out in the black and white tux. Man, that's what this fragrance feels like. But if you also wanted to dress it down, you could do that as well. Nice and smoky, maybe hints of leather within this, subtle pops of sweetness here, and it just feels like a fragrance that's primed for that nighttime wear. Not a bad scent at all, and one of the fragrances that I would be adding to my cart for my buy one get one 35% off. Again, holla at my friends over at fragflex.com. Use my code BUCK35 and you're gonna buy one get one 35% off. Again, you cannot go wrong. Check out these fragrances from Lucianno. I'm really a fan of what they've done with the LV and apart from the Marley collection. So dive in, see what speaks to you, and go ahead and save while the getting's good. The discount goes away on August 14th, so do not miss out. Again, $135, fragflex.com. Get your savings today. Everything linked and listed down below. Now, this is just one clone fragrance brand. Click here to see 10 clone fragrances everyone's buying in 2025.